Making pledges before mini polls. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says he seeks a team of politicians who do not rob public property. Friends are forever. Sri Lanka Freedom Party and joint opposition decide to meet again and discuss further on contesting together. Averting another disaster. A fissure appears in Mitotumula garbage dump. The NBRO assures safety measures have already been taken. Strategic partnership is the way forward. Minister of Special Assignment Dr. Sarat Amungama explains plans for future investments.
It's not to go for privatization. That is passé now. Time has gone.
Crowning glory. World Athletes of 2017 awarded.
A prince, a queen, a king and Seb. What a photograph.
From home and across the world. This is First at 9 on other Derana 24/7. Good evening, I'm Katharina Chang. Now on to our top story tonight. The Attorney General's Department states that a committee consisting of 3 lawyers was appointed to inquire into the legal environment for holding the local government election. The committee has been appointed considering the situation that arose due to the court order pertaining to the petition filed against the Gazette notification of the local government. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and joint opposition has decided to hold a special meeting on the 28th of November on contesting together in the upcoming local government elections. The decision was taken at a meeting held between the two groups last night.
A special meeting between the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the joint opposition took place last night to discuss the prospect of contesting upcoming local government elections together. Parliamentarians Mahinda Yapabewardena, C.B. Ratnayaka and Pavitra Vanyarachi joined the meeting, representing the joint opposition. Representing the SLFP, Ministers Nimal Siripala de Silva, Anura Priyadarshana Yapa and Deputy Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna participated in the meeting. The two sides extensively discussed conditions presented by each other at the meeting. Views were also expressed on granting the opposition leadership to the joint opposition. More rounds of discussions are expected in the future as 14 days remain to call for nominations.
Many politicians expressed their views regarding the upcoming local government elections.
Mahinda Rajapaksa decided to hold elections 2 years early as he thought that delaying the election will result in his defeat. Ultimately, he had to give his crown to President Maithripala Sirisena even though he had 2 years of office remaining. Now President Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe are thinking of postponing elections since the ground seems unfavourable for them. The petitioners who received the injunction order and the people who guided them thought are afraid of the election. The Election Commission stated that there isn't any problem and that 1/3 of the country's local government bodies can hold elections. We will create the required legal environment for the rest of the local government bodies to be eligible to hold elections in the first week of February. They got into trouble trying to amend the Local Government Elections Act. If not, they are doing this intentionally. We do not know as to how many years it will take for delimitation and for correction of typographical errors after bringing in the new constitution. The nation should understand that the upcoming election is not a minor election. If the public makes a mistake in this election, Ranil Wickremesinghe, Maithripala Sirisena and the rest will gain more strength to move ahead with their separatist constitution.
The United National Front has decided to present a motion to the Court of Appeal in order to expedite the hearing of the case related to local government elections. Minister of National Coexistence, Dialogue and Official Languages, Manu Ganeshan, stated that they have decided to present the motion on the 30th of this month. He made the remark attending a ceremony in Colombo today.
Elections were postponed by filing a case. We are against postponing the election. Recently, we as members of the United National Front gathered under the leadership of the Prime Minister and decided to go before the court. We will hand over a motion on the 30th of this month requesting to expedite the hearing of the case. If not, we will hold elections in January according to the old system. We are not going to hold the elections part by part. That era was ended long ago.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that he will collaborate with all who support good governance. The Premier made the remark at the UMP membership drive held in Kolonnawa today.
We have given them an era where they can work independently, even while criticizing the government. We also gave freedom to the media, and they don't have to bend their will to the president. The media still has not understand that clearly. Put us in charge of the villages in this country. We will develop them just as we develop the country. I only want chairmen and officials who focus on developing their areas. I don't want them to engage in any fraudulent activities. We will sack any officials who steal. 3 ministers have already stepped down because of trivial issues. We will work for the public and will work with anybody who supports good governance.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa pointed out that if it is preferred to have elections in all local government bodies on the same day. He made these remarks speaking to media following religious observances in Ahungalla.
We think this could be for selected areas. However, we prefer holding elections on the same day in all areas of the country. Yes, the joint opposition has appointed a team. They have been given a responsibility, and this is what they are engaged in these days. They have briefed us on the developments. Despite certain claims, we didn't look for the shortcuts to attain the post of Prime Minister or the leadership of the opposition. Those are mudslinging campaigns. Ask them to go for it. It is best if they let go of our people, so there will be no more issues. Then the president is ours.
Acting Director of the Muragahakanda Reservoir Project, W.P. Vijayaratna, says it will take at least 2 more weeks to distribute water from the reservoir. He made these remarks speaking to media following an observation tour at the site. Meanwhile, Derana took a look into ongoing construction of the project.
Construction of the Muragahakanda Reservoir began on the 25th of January 2007. The maiden waters of the Muragahakanda Dam were released under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena in January 2017. 315,000 acres of water is now filled in the reservoir, which has a water capacity of 460,000 acre-feet. 90% of the construction process has also been completed. However, project officials say water needed for nearby farming lands cannot be released until the reservoir commences power generation.
We need another 60,000 acre-feet of water to check how power generators will function. We have fixed indicator machines in the dam to check the outcome of the reaching full water capacity. Rainfall is very low now. Farmers are waiting for us to supply water, but we'll have to wait until we properly check the dam and power generators.
Derana then inquired as to how the project is being prepared for power generation. The dam is 187 meters high and officials say water levels must reach up to 174 meters for automatic power generators to begin operation, adding that it should remain at a level of 169 meters for power generation to continue.
We must first operate this grid for 72 hours at maximum capacity, but that requires the water to reach a certain level. The grid will contribute 24 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. That includes 2 units of 7.5 megawatts each and another 2 units of 5 megawatts each.
Meanwhile, the new Lagala town, which is to house 3,000 families who lost their home due to the Muragahakanda project, is also in the last phase of its construction. The city being constructed at a cost of 4.5 billion rupees under the Garden City concept of urban planning focuses on future needs of its inhabitants.
Let's now cross over to a short commercial break and we will join with more local news on the other side.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back to the news. The JVP organised a protest march and a rally this afternoon against the postponement of local government elections. The protest march began from Ratmalana and was concluded in Malabe.
A new political camp which can lead the public in a new direction should be built, and it is none other than the JVP. What did the people expect from the president when he was elected? He said he will put an end to the theft, the thieves will be punished, stolen property will be recovered, and the country will be put on the right path. When the public is planning to capture the thieves, the Premier is planning a new game. 50 days after this government took office, the controversial bond issuance took place. What kind of leaders are they? The involvement of many individuals is very clear in this case.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news across Sri Lanka. A fissure measuring 35 meters in length and 1.5 meters in width has appeared along a slope of the Mitotumula garbage dump in Kolonnawa. Upon inspection, a group of officials from the National Building Research Organisation said the fissure, which appeared 2 weeks ago, will not pose a threat. A group of employees of the Magampura port in Hambantota, together with their parents who engaged in a satyagraha opposite the port last evening, presented their grievances to Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development, Mahinda Amarabira, last night. Protesters requested that all employees of the Hambantota port be recruited to the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. 450 families residing in Meemaduma Gaol are experiencing a water shortage owing to the absence of a water supply system. Residents say their plight has fallen on deaf ears as authorities have failed to provide a solution to the issue despite having the Baddegama water purification plant situated 1 kilometre away from the Meemaduma village. A 49-year-old motorcyclist was killed in an accident in Gamaralagama in Ranna, Angunakola Palazzo, when his motorcycle collided with a cab travelling in the opposite direction. 3 others were injured in the incident and are currently receiving treatment at the Angunakola Palazzo Hospital. Police have commenced investigations to apprehend the driver of the motor vehicle, who is at large. 5 people, including a child, were injured when a motorcycle collided with a motor vehicle in Walagama along the Polgahavila Kegal Road. The injured are currently receiving treatment at the Kegal General Hospital. Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa says the government should affirm that the proposed constitution will protect characteristics of a unitary state. He made these remarks at the Elia Forum held today.
A conference by the Elia Forum was organised in Anuradhapura today, headed by the former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The series of conferences focuses on the proposed constitution and its consequences.
President Sirisena, he was chosen as an executive of this country. However, if you take the parliament, the UNP, SLFP were not given a clear mandate, which I believe is required for them to introduce a new constitution. A constitution should transcend many generations. We are told the executive presidency is the cause of all ills in Sri Lanka. Today, Mr. Sambandhan tells, for 60 years, we have not solved our problems. Why? Because for 60 years, you have been trying to create a separate country in the name of federalism, in the name of provincial governance. Today, our country needs a new direction from this bygone era where you have kept on talking about federalism. They are talking about transferring the power to elect the president to parliament. Can we transfer that power? In Tamil, they call it Orumitha Nadu. In Sinhala, Ekiya Rajya kiyala they are saying. However, I believe this is all playing with words.
We all, as fellow Sri Lankan citizens, should stand together against this menace of dividing the country into 9 different states. And whereas each and every state will have autonomous powers, it is similar to a mini state within the state. A sub-autonomy, a federal state where the police powers are devolved, the land powers are devolved. Therefore, the power at the center is diminished and we will have the problem of this regionalism. And we know after the liberation, getting rid of the terrorism, including the Muslims, all the communities in their areas living peacefully. We should defeat this constitution in the parliament.
Elia is not a communalist organization. The opposition leader said that we are spreading a communist ideology through the organization. Although he is a respected politician, he was never able to accomplish anything for the Tamil community due to his separatist ideas. We are not the communists, it's him. I could say that I did more for the Tamil community than he ever did. We can't unite people through devolution of power. Why are we preparing to do something the terrorists wanted for 30 years? Having the mere word unitary won't solve anything. The country also needs characteristics of a unitary state. We need the promise that this constitution will not change those unitary characteristics.
Meanwhile, views were expressed in the political arena regarding claims that former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa is to be arrested.
They are going to arrest someone who protected state properties under the Act of State Properties. Thousands of soldiers will line up to go to jail for Gotabaya Rajapaksa if he is arrested. It is unfortunate if someone thinks of arresting a hero who ended the war just because of the ideas of Tamil separatists. It would be a sin to arrest him. It will be the end of the government if they carried on with it. Since 2015, they did everything to bring in former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa before the court. The government will be making a big mistake if he is arrested.
Two double murders where 3 women and a man were killed were reported from Mathura and Derana.
A man and a woman were found murdered with the use of sharp implements in a residence in Ranwala, Malibada in the Derana police division. Police stated that the victims were a 45-year-old married woman and a man aged 55, adding that the murder was over a number of illicit affairs. The deceased woman is a mother of 2 daughters aged 7 and 4 who were also injured in the incident and are currently receiving treatment at the Colombo General Hospital and in the Avisavalla Base Hospital. Police investigations are underway to apprehend the 28-year-old suspect who had fled the scene. Meanwhile, a 40-year-old mother of 2 and her 82-year-old mother-in-law were found murdered in Navimana, Mathura. The suspects are yet unknown and further investigations are being carried out by police.
On business news tonight, Minister of Plantation Industries Navin Disanayake says the ministry is creating an economic model for the tea industry. He made these remarks at an event held in Nuwara today. In order to commemorate 150 years of Ceylon tea, the finals of the Best Tea Plucker contest were held in Magastoto, Nuwara under the auspices of Minister of Plantation Industries Navin Disanayake today. 42 tea pluckers from across the country took part.
In the recent budget, our ministry has been tasked with creating an economic model for the tea industry. Furthermore, our coconut cultivation faces numerous issues due to rising coconut prices. We expect a reduction in prices during the next 3 to 4 months, which will bring about stability in the industry.
The minister also went on to speak of fraud and corruption in the country.
We need to develop our country in a systematic manner. In order to do this, we don't need nepotism. We require individuals who work in an upright manner. The President appointed a commission to probe into the bond issue. We believe that justice will be meted out through the commission. This is what should be done. If someone commits a crime, it will come to light in the future.
Minister of Special Assignments Dr. Sarath Amunugama says that Sri Lanka must make use of its strategic position by joining hands with strategic partners through joint ventures. He made this remark at an event held in Colombo today.
The inaugural Asia-Pacific Executives Forum 2017 was held under the auspices of Minister of Special Assignments Dr. Sarath Amunugama this evening. The forum, which saw the participation of experts and professionals in various sectors in the economy from Sri Lanka and overseas, served as a platform to share information on the issues of the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. The event was organized by the American Academy of Project Management in collaboration with local and international institutions.
We are in a very advantageous position because between the Middle East and the Far East, we occupy a very central strategic spot. Just a few kilometers north of Sri Lanka is the Indian market, which is the largest growing market in the world. There is also Bangladesh, which is one of the fastest growing countries now in our region. So there is a lot of excitement, a lot of potentialities in South Asia and particularly in Sri Lanka. And our strategy now is not to go for privatization. That is passé now. Its time has gone. we are more interested in joint ventures, where a strategic partner can come in, work with the state institution. We will put that as the governmental share, and then we will look at modern management and a fast-track growth of those enterprises. Sri Lanka has a large number of state-owned enterprises, which I have to say are not working at maximum speed or maximum capacity or maximum returns.
Analysts say investors must remain cautious and watchful in the coming week as market capitalization increased to nearly 100% in the global stock market. We are joined by business cycle analyst Dr. Kenneth De Silva to give us a comprehensive global and international market forecast.
Major stock markets in the world have reached a point where the market capitalization is far in excess of their GDPs, and we are seeing that global stock markets have reached some dizzying heights. Currently also we find a similar pattern occurring in the global financial markets, where we are seeing market cap to GDP increase to nearly 100%. Now that is a bit of a worrying factor, and markets and investors need to pay close attention to this particular ratio. In the context of Sri Lanka, what we are seeing is the Sri Lankan stock market capitalization as a percentage of GDP remains relatively low. But what we've also noticed is that there is a negative trend forming in the Colombo Stock Exchange, and the markets have now fallen below its moving average, which highlights that the market is in a downward correction, and hence you see on a daily basis there is a gradual grind down of the stock market. Now this trend, if it is to reverse, I think there needs to be a strong refocus on capital formation.
And with that, let's take you to a short commercial break with some news on the other side.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back to the news. People in Nepal are voting in the country's first general elections since the end of a civil war and the abolishment of the monarchy in 2008. More than 3 million voters are expected to cast their ballot in the first phase of elections, which will be held in remote mountains areas often recording sub-zero temperatures.
Polls opened in Nepal's northern mountain districts as the country voted in the first phase of parliamentary and provincial assembly elections. The centrist Nepali Congress Party is taking on an alliance of former Maoist rebels and the opposition Communist UML party. The second phase of the election will be held on the 7th of December, and a total of more than 15 million eligible voters will choose a 275-member parliament along with provincial assemblies.
Let's take a look at some other stories making news across the world. Five people, including 3 children, were killed after a stolen car crashed into a tree in Leeds, England. 2 15-year-old boys are in custody following the crash last night. An explosion at a factory in eastern China killed 2 people and injured at least 30 others today. The explosion occurred at around 9 a.m. local time, leaving buildings destroyed and streets littered with damaged cars and debris. Airlines have been issued a red warning of volcanic ash in the skies surrounding the Indonesian city of Bali after the volcano Gung emitted a thick plume of smoke reaching 4 kilometers. It is the second major emission from the volcano this week. Meanwhile, in Mexico, 3 explosions occurred in the volcano Popocatépetl, one of which shot smoke and ash 4 kilometers into the sky. At least 31 migrants, including children, died after the boat capsized off the coast of Libya yesterday while attempting to cross the Mediterranean illegally. Over 250 police officers and protesters were injured in Pakistan yesterday after police clashed with activists who defied court orders to vacate main routes into Islamabad. Pakistan's government has called for troops to be deployed in the capital after violence broke out during protests by Islamists. With IAF and cricket, we will join you on the other side.
You are watching Sri Lanka's trusted news brand, Other Derana 24/7.
On to cricket now. India made the most from Vidarbha Stadium pitch being proved favourable for batting as they scored a mammoth 610. 4 players of the Indian top order scored blistering centuries, dragging Sri Lanka to a difficult position.
India resumed their innings from an overnight score of 312 for 2. Starting the third day of the second test, Nagpur saw some fantastic playing as the Indians showed no mercy to the Sri Lankan bowlers. Chiteshwar Pujara was the first dismissal of the day as he fell for Dasun Shanaka. Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma made the most of a wicket which did not offer much assistance to the bowlers. Skipper Virat Kohli went on to slam his 5th double century while Rohit Sharma notched up his 3rd test ton. Together the pair put up a 173-run stand which saw India put up a mammoth 610. India, however, declared the match on 610 with 4 wickets remaining. In reply, Sri Lanka was on the back foot as they lost opener Sadira Samaravikrama off the first ball. At the end of the day 3, Sri Lanka were 21 for 1, trailing by 348 runs.
High jumper Mutaz Isa Barshim and heptathlon champion Nafistu Tiam were named the Male and Female World Athletes of the Year at the International Association of Athletics Federation Awards ceremony in Monaco recently. IAAF President Sebastian Coe presented the trophy to Barshim, who succeeds retired Jamaican sprint legend Usain Bolt.
The incomparable Usain Bolt, who spent the better half of the past decade redefining what sprinting can be, was awarded the President's Award at the IAAF Awards.
The winner is
Qatari Mutaz Esa Barshim was one of the most consistent and dominant athletes of the year. He was unbeaten in 11 competitions in 2017, winning gold at the World Championships and romping to the Diamond League crown.
the Female Athlete of the Year.
Nafisatu Tiam also took the world title to add to her Olympic crown and broke through the 7,000 points barrier by registering 7,013 points at the IAAF Combined Events Challenge meeting in Godses.
Into the photograph spot, please. A prince, a queen, a king, and Seb. What a photograph.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Here's Sadhu Pekka at the Other Derana Weather Centre with your forecast first evening edition.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather Centre. This is your forecast first for the next 24 hours. Now tomorrow's temperatures will average at around 27 degrees Celsius in coastal areas, maxing out at 29 degrees in the northwest. Cooler temperatures in the low 20s will prevail in the central hills. Widespread showers can be expected across the country during the course of the day, particularly in the southern half of the island. Last but not the least, a low-pressure system is brewing in the Bay of Bengal to the southeast of the island, and we are keeping a close watch on it to see if it might develop further. That's it from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city-by-city forecast.
Now that is a wrap for tonight, but you can connect with us on Facebook by visiting facebook.com/first@9 or on Twitter at twitter.com/first@9 for these stories and more. And before we go, we'd like to take you to the Mapam Yumko Lake in Tibet, which hosts a wide variety of wildlife and sustains the people around it. Its unspoiled natural beauty also provides stunning views. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.
the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.